Hi, it's Rosie, and I'm back with the March 16th through 31st birthday party. I actually just finished coloring this page. I was feeling very vibrant and pink and orange today. And I am happy to tell you about the birthday Brave Sisses that we are celebrating right now. This is Camille Nickerson, who is one of my favorites. If you follow Instagram, Brave Sis Project on Instagram, you see her face comes up a lot. I love this drawing, and I love her story. She was born March 30th, 1888, and she was from New Orleans. And she was from a musical family. So she was a pianist, a composer, a singer, an arranger, and a musicologist. Although, as you see in the book, back in that time, those people were called collectors of music. So she was a music collector who really loved the Creole folk songs of her childhood and of her family heritage. She considered that these folk songs were a type of national treasure. There she is, a little closer. I'll bring her in a little closer. And so she did her studies at Oberlin, which we know a lot about this college. It was one of the first colleges to allow African American students in as peers to the white students. So a lot of the Brave Sis foremothers that we see in this year's Journey Journal came through Oberlin, and so did she. But then she also did her graduate degree at Juilliard in New York City, and also Columbia University. So she really got deeply immersed in the classical music world of the 1920s and 30s. During the 30s through the 50s, she would dress up in this folkloric costume of Louisiana, of the New Orleans area, and she called herself the Louisiana Lady, and she had a touring show. She went around the U.S. and Europe, exposing excited audiences to the folkloric music of her Creole past. It's kind of cool. You can find some of it on the internet if you look it up. And so she enjoyed a lot of commercial success, but she also wanted people to take Creole music seriously as an art form. And so later on, she became a professor at Howard University from 1926 to 1962, a little palindrome of a career. She was a professor there, and she did a lot to uplift the music, the folkloric music of many Black composers and musicians from traditional backgrounds. And so Camille Nickerson is really not very well known, and she's one of the reasons why I am happy that we've created Brave Sis Project, so more people can know about the Louisiana Lady. Now, Kalpana Shalwa is someone I remember. She was born on March 17, 1962, but in order to enroll in the school she had her official birth date changed to July 1st, 1961. She loved aeronautics and flying and would visit airports as a little girl, and she became very strong in engineering. And so in 1982, she emigrated to the United States, and she earned 2 master's degrees and a PhD. Not so shabby. She was on a mission, no pun intended. She was a mission specialist and operated a robotic arm on her first flight in space, which logged a simple 10.5 million miles. And she loved the work that she did. Soon after that first flight, she was implicated in a controversy. Something happened with the ship, and they thought that she might have had done a miscalculation that led to a near mishap, but she didn't, and she was fine. Hi, paper planner. And she was fine, and they exonerated her, but quite tragically, in February 2003, as her spaceship was coming back into the Earth's atmosphere, the Columbia, that it disintegrated and exploded, and it was the worst accident since the Challenger disaster, which I certainly remember. But the Columbia was also a terrible disaster, and she and the other 6 crew members were lost. There are 2 streets in the United States that are named after South Asian women from Indian subcontinent in the United States. One is Bagai Way right here, Kala Bagai Way right here in Berkeley, and the other in Jackson Heights in Queens is Kalpana Shalwa Way. I can't wait till I get back to New York, my hometown, sometime, hopefully this year or early next. I plan to get on that subway and go out to Jackson Heights and see the street named after her, and take a photo and put it next to the photo I have of Kala Bagai, and just celebrate these 2 wonderful women. The thing I like to say too about women from the Indian subcontinent is a lot of the women who came up in the 20th century, because of the whole model minority and being able or being allowed, or however you want to put it, to designate oneself as Caucasian on the census. It can be very hard to find Indian women among other women of color, if you will, who back in the day, in the 50s and 40s and 60s, actually considered themselves women of color. It's much more common today among the younger women, as they've claimed their brownness as part of their heritage. But back up until about the 80s or so, I'll have to look it up and confirm, the census actually allowed them to check off as Caucasian. So that's something really interesting to think about when you're talking with people who maybe have grandparents or parents who are like, we weren't people of color. The younger generations really are, on the aggregate, much more interested in embracing that pan-cultural kind of identity. It made it a little challenging when I was doing this first round of Brave Cis Journey Journal research to find women who were Indian or even South American or Muslim, because of that preferred non-minority status mentality that permeated the United States immigration policy until the 80s and 90s. There's a lot to say about that, and actually if you go to my website and go to the media page, I believe we got into a long conversation on an Insta Live that I did with a wonderful woman, Shakti, and we talked about it at length. Anyway, I digress. Also born on March 18th, 1907 is Verdamay Freeman. Welcome. And she is dressed like a scout, and I kind of she became a state senator in Maryland. In 1958, she was the first black woman in the U.S. to be elected to a state Senate seat. She was elected instilled into the Maryland Women's Hall of Fame. She did a lot of important civil rights legislation. She was really a baller, as they say, and she's really not very well known. She was a delegate to the Democratic National Convention 3 times in 68, 72, and 76. She's just a really interesting person. I recommend that you take a look and find out more about her as well. I would love to know what kind of journeys you all are having this year with the Journey Journal. Who are you discovering? Do you have people you want to recommend to me? I've already finished all the planning for the 2022 Journey Journal, but 2023 won't be far behind. And I've got a lot of really great ideas and a lot of really big plans. I can't wait to share. So I hope you will. Thank you, Drink Coffee, for joining as well. I hope that the rest of you who watch this not live will spread the word, share the word about Brave Cis. There is so many exciting things coming down the pike, thanks to all of you and your support and interest. I am thrilled. We are building an inclusive sisterhood, and as I say, ally is a verb. So really excited to share more in the coming weeks. Thanks for joining me for this birthday party. Let me know how things are going. I hope you are all keeping very well. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. Bye-bye.